All right, this video goes over solving radical equations. So you would need to get the square root by itself. And then you're going to square both sides. So for the first one, it says Jin solved the equation square root of 4 minus x equals x plus 8 by squaring both sides. What extraneous solution did he find? Extraneous solution is a solution that you reject. So it has to be a solution. So we don't know which numbers of here are solutions unless we actually solve this. So the square root part is already by itself, so we're going to square this side. And we'll have 4 minus x. On the right side, if I square this side, I have x plus 8, but I have it twice. You can use the box method, or you can just double distribute. So you've got 4 minus x equals x squared plus 8x plus another 8x plus 64. So we've got 4 minus x equals x squared plus 16x plus 64. Anything with an x squared needs to be solved by setting it equal to 0, and then you can factor and solve, or you can use your calculator to solve. So I'm going to subtract 4, and I'm going to add x. And we've got x squared plus 17x plus 60. So you want numbers that multiply to 60 and add up to 17 to factor it. To do that, numbers that multiply to 60 and add up to 17 are 12 and 5. So x equals negative 12 or x equals negative 5. Those are the solutions. Now you could have gotten that same answer if you clicked on apps, and everybody's calculator is different, but you're looking for the app called Simult 2. Sometimes it's option 8, 9, 4, depends on the calculator. You want option 1 is the root finder. You can keep all this the same. And so you could type in 1x squared plus 17x plus 60, and you would hit solve. Now I know it has the 0 i's there because by default it's gonna like see if your answers are imaginary, but it has the negative 5 and negative 12 that we got right here. So we know 3 and 4 are out because they're not solutions. So I want to figure out which one of these is the rejected solution. So now I have to do a check. So I'm going to take negative 12 and I'm going to plug it into my original question. So square root 4 minus and then negative 12. That's the left side with negative 12 plugged in. That's 4. And then the right side with negative 12 plugged in is just negative 12 plus 8. That's positive 4. These are not the same, so this is going to be the rejected solution. That's going to be our answer. Now on the other one, let's just double check. If I plug in negative 5, 4 minus negative 5, that's the left side. And then negative 5 plus 8, they both equal 3, so that does work. So our rejected solution, or our extraneous solution, is negative 12. For the second one, it says the solution set of this is, all right, so the square root's already by itself, so we're going to square both sides. The square and the square root will cancel. So over here I have x minus 1 squared, so I've got 2 of those. And then just 2x or plus 6. So I'm going to double distribute. I'll have x squared minus x plus 1, and then 2x plus 6. Combining like terms, I have x squared minus 2x plus 1. And now I want to set this equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 2x. Those will cancel, and I'll subtract 6, and those will cancel. So this will leave me with x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. So you can factor that, or you can use your calculator. So if you're a calculator person, apps, Simult, whatever one that is, option 1, next, you can type it in. 1 -4, -5. These tell you the answers, -1 and +5. Or you could factor it. The factors are x plus 1 and x minus 5. Numbers that multiply to -5 and add up to -4. Now, this seems like it could be option 1, but we do have to check to make sure they're right. So one thing you can do on multiple choice problems is just check to make sure you have an answer that works on both sides. So -1, I'm going to plug into the left side. -1 minus 1, and then that gives me -2, obviously. And then I'm going to plug -1 into the right side. That gives me 2. So -1 is out. That's not going to work. So now we're just going to check to see if 5 works. 5 minus 1, that's the left side, and square root 2 times 5 plus 6 is 4. Both of these equal 4, so 5 is good, so 2 is good. Let's try number 8 just by checking the numbers. So the solution set for the equation x plus 1, I could square both sides, but also let me just start plugging in some numbers. Let's plug in 6. So the left side is going to be just 6 plus 1, and the right side is going to be square root of 4 times 6 plus 25. So we've got 7 and 7. So 6 is working. So 1 and 4 are out. So now let's check to see if -4 works. So the left side is -4 plus 1, -3, and the right side is 4 times -4 plus 25, +3. So -4 is not working, so option 2. So this one we just checked on the calculator. All right, what if you had a short answer question? So for short answer questions, you may want to make sure the radical is by itself. So for this one, it's not, so let's start to get it by itself. So we will subtract 6 on both sides. So we've got 2x minus 6 equals 2 times radical x minus 1. You could square both sides here, but I don't like seeing this 2 here. I'd rather it just be divided out, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is just x, or 2x divided by 2 is just x, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. And now I can square both sides. So I'll square x minus 3, and I'm going to square square root. Square and the square root are going to cancel, so I just have x minus 1. X minus 3 squared means I have 2 of them. So I'm going to distribute x squared, I'll put this over here, x squared minus 3x, x squared minus 3x minus another 3x plus 9. And then x minus 1. Combining like terms, I've got x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals x minus 1, and I got to get this set equal to 0. Subtract x, add 1, x squared minus 7x plus 10. So I'm going to factor this, numbers that multiply to 10 and add up to -7. So those numbers are -5 and -2. So we get answers of +5 and +2. Now I'm running out of space, so I should probably show a check, but let's check. If I'm going to check 5, I'm going to plug in 5 in the original. The original is just 2 times 5 on the right side. That's 10. And then 6 plus 2 radical 5 minus 1 is also 10. So this works. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And 6 plus 2 square root 2 minus 1 is 8. So 2 does not work. Doesn't. Check. So 5 is the only answer. 15, the solution set for this equation. Again, this is already a radical, so we're good. This is 3, x plus 6, and then the right side is just x squared. So 3x plus 18 equals x squared. I got to get this set equal to 0. I'm going to move these over here. So x squared, and then if I move the 3x to the other side, it'll be minus 3x. If I move the 18 to the other side, it'll be minus 18. So I'll have x minus 6 and x plus 3. So my final answers are 6 and negative 3. So positive 6 and negative 3, so this option's out. Now I have to figure out which one checks. So I go back to my calculator. I'm going to check 6 first. So 3, I'm just going to go back to the original, parentheses, 6 plus 6. And the right side is just x, which is just 6. So 6 and 6, they are equal to each other. 6 works. Now let's check negative 3. 3, negative 3 plus 6. That gives me 3. The other side is just x, but x was negative 3. These are not the same, so negative 3 is out, 6 is in, so option 3. On the next page, the square root is already by itself, so I'm going to square both sides. Square and square root cancel. I have 3x plus 7 equals x minus 1, 2 of those. I'm going to distribute this out. X squared minus x minus another x, and then plus 1. Left side is still 3x plus 7. So I've got x squared minus 2x plus 1. To set this equal to 0, I'm going to subtract 3x and subtract 7. So 0 equals x squared minus 5x minus 6. Now I'm going to factor this, or you can use your calculator to solve. Numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add up to negative 5. That would be negative 6 and positive 1. So final answers would be 6 and negative 1. Now we need to check. So square root 3 times 6 plus 7 gives me 5, and 6 minus 1 gives me 5. So this one works. And then square root 3 times, again, I'm plugging it back in, negative 1 plus 7 is 2, and then negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So this is out, it doesn't check. So 6 is the only answer. All right, 33 is almost set up. This 5 would need to be moved over to the other side before you could start. Square root of 49 minus 10x equals 2x minus 5. So we're going to square both sides. So the square and the square root will cancel, 49 minus 10x, and then 2x minus 5, 2 of those. 49 minus 10x equals, so I've got 4x squared minus 10x minus another 10x plus 25. So 4x squared minus 20x plus 25. Got to set this equal to 0. So minus 49 minus 49. Open, add 10x. So we've got 4x squared minus 10x, and then 25 minus 49, negative 24. Now at this point I can't factor like numbers that multiply and add because this 4 is in the front. So this is one where you might want your calculator to solve it for you. But the real way to factor this is to factor out a GCF. But you end up getting answers of x equals negative 3 halves. All right. So we get answers of x equals negative 3 halves and x equals 4. So how did this come about? First, there's a GCF of 2 you could take out. And you would have 2 times 2x squared minus 5x minus 12 equals 0. You still can't, you still can't do the multiply add thing because there's this 2 out front. But you can either do grouping or the AC method into grouping, or you can just kind of guess and check. If you already know the answers, you can use those answers to help you. So I'm going to do the guess and check method. So if I know my answer down here as x equals 4, I know that must have come from x minus 4. And that's basically my biggest hint. I need a 2x squared. I have an x, so I'm going to need a 2x here so that when I multiply, I have 2x times x is going to give me 2x squared. And on the end, I need to make negative 12. If I have negative 4 here, this has to be 3. So 3 times negative 4 gives me negative 12. And then this, when you solve, you really are setting these equal to 0, and you would subtract 3, and then you would divide by 2, and you would get your answer of negative 3 over 2. This one is more obvious. Set it equal to 0, and you'd get positive 4. Anyways, you still need to check, so we're going back to the beginning. Square root 49 minus 10x, so 10 times negative 3 halves. And then outside of the radical is plus 5, so arrow over plus 5, 13. And so then we're going to check 2 times negative 13. That doesn't work. This doesn't check. Now let's try 4. 49 minus 10 times 4, outside of the radical, plus 5, 8. And then 2 times 4, also 8. So 4 works. So that's my final answer. Whoops. All right, last one. Radical is by itself, so we can just go ahead and square both sides. Square and the square root cancel. 4x plus 1 equals 11 minus x, 2 of those. So we're going to distribute. 11 times 11 is 121, minus 11x, minus another 11x, and then plus x squared. Let's combine like terms. I'm going to reorder this. Let's put x squared at the front, minus 2 of these, so minus 22x plus 121. Set it equal to 0, minus 4x, minus 4x, minus 1, minus 1. 0 equals x squared minus 26x plus 120. All right, here's one where maybe you think the numbers are too tricky. I don't know, feels fairly obvious, but if you click apps, you can always solve this on your calculator. Option 1, next. So we got 1 minus 26 plus 120, solve. So 6 and 20. Now, if you feel like you really wanted to show all your work, if you got the answers from your calculator, remember you could go backwards and write the factors down, since they're just going to be the opposite binomial pair. All right, so now we're just going to check 6 and 20. So square root 4 times 6 plus 1, that's the left side with 6 plugged in, that's 5, and then the right side with 6 plugged in is also 5, so 5 is good. Then we have square root of 4 times 20 plus 1, that's 9. 11 minus 20 is negative 9. That's out, it doesn't check. All right, that is a radical equation.